Guys, do you really think that Moses cared if the aristocrat, physically attractive, genocidal women in Egypt didn't like him? Do you think that he lost sleep over that? You know what I'm saying? Okay. You think Jesus cared about cared if the orgy women in Rome cared if he lived or died? You know, they didn't give a shit if children were murdered so they could have a better quality of life, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Just because I try to encourage assholes to stand up for the Lord's Prayer so they don't go down in history as an asshole with quantum computing able to collect the evidence, to have a perfect scientific method from taking all the evidence and not letting it be doctored for propaganda for genocide in the future. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't let what assholes do make me lose sleep. What makes me lose sleep is when my body's uncomfortable because of what assholes do, and my mind is uncomfortable because of their science projects, and my body's also uncomfortable because of their science projects. So that's what makes me lose sleep. But I don't lose sleep going, wish I was having sex with a psychotic who does genocide operations with pornography for money. I don't do that. Okay, so it's just, so if any of you egomaniacs are out there saying, that guy thinks he's gorgeous, I know I'm gorgeous, you ugly fucking bitch. Okay, we are what we do. Put that in your legalized marijuana pipe and smoke it, right? I'm tired of your shit, right? You need to relax? Okay, go get blunted, but don't listen to me talk because I'll make you want to go hang yourself in your garage because you're such a fucking murdering, pathetic, selfish pile of shit, and you've probably been that way for maybe anywhere upwards to 10,000 to 100,000 years, right? But don't worry, life's eternal and grace is infinite, right? So there's always hope, yeah. So what was all that one in a million talk? I was watching some Dumb and Dumber yesterday. Right. You sold our dead parakeet to a blind kid? What kind of people would do that? People that believe money's real and want to impress people that use money to manipulate people with sexual access. Here you go, way too fast. Don't slow down, you're gonna crash. You don't know what's been going down. You've been running all over town. My kids used to love that. Noah and Natalie used to put that on, run around, and Noah started it, and they ran around in the living room, and we'd video record it. I don't know what happened to it. The good citizen Christians of Las Cruces did something with it. But, good Christians, huh? You guys are acting just like Jesus and Moses and David. Oh, yeah. Ruth and Esther all over the place, right? There are some people that want to believe and are trying to believe and that listen to the guy who shops at Loman and say, I believe in him. I believe he's right. Look at the horrible things that everybody in the government that calls themselves a hero has done to him because he's the way, the truth, and the life, and they're the pocket knife with the science project that comes and poisons you and then says, hey, come to our hospitals. We'll keep you healthy. We'll give you electroshock therapy. We'll put you in a Tesla thing to tell you how we're fucking up your body and how we intend on repairing it. Why don't we just park the cars, bars, and wars, and then we won't have to repair the body as much because we won't be fighting like hell to get a contract in the NCAA or in NBA. I said watch some of the Aggies and the Sycamores and stuff, and the cheap calls. It's not like Larry Bird needed the help. He did. Slab was a really good ball player. Larry even said that. Okay. He wasn't quick enough to draw the charge, but apparently Larry was quick enough to draw the charge on Slab and Terre Haute earlier in the season, and they returned the favor, and it was at New Mexico State, and Slab got called for the fouls because it was conference referees and Indiana State's record and Larry Bird was putting them on the map. It's marketing, guys. It's professional wrestling. It's marketing. Okay. There's a bear loose in the Pan American Center. There'll be no refunds. Your only refund will be getting out of this death trap alive. Spumoni! I was watching the replay. They didn't show it all and all the good plays and Chuck Goslin shots and all that. But I was watching because it was a Terre Haute thing, and they showed all the highlights of the Sycamores. But by the end of the game, Robert had fouled out, Micah had fouled out, Cyrus had fouled out, Slab had fouled out. Brunson was playing, and he never played. I never saw Brunson play. It's the first time I ever saw Brunson play. Because he had to come in because everybody had fouled out. Yeah, it was like, how'd they beat us with all their reserves? Because they were playing all our reserves. And it's because Larry Bird didn't get thrown out. He got in a fight with a fan who tried to hold him in, and then out him of the game, and he didn't get in trouble for that. And Mel Daniels, I was like, who is that? That's Mel Daniels from the Indiana Pacers. Okay, he was an assistant coach for it. Okay, I did not know that. And so Mel Daniels was out there grabbing Larry and getting between the fan and calming him down because he'd been through shit like that too, and he was a big boy. He was like 6'9", 6'10". He was bigger than Larry. He was over there, hey, come on, let's go, and guiding him over. You ain't gonna help us win the game if you get yourself kicked out fighting with a fan that was acting a fool, And so yeah, he was just calming him down. Took a while to calm him down, but he calmed him down. Yeah, that'd make you mad. That pissed you off. Make you mad. So, and so, but the Terre Haute people were real nice about it, saying, "Hey, Larry came here to play," but the New Mexico State police people are over there making sure that the guy's out of here, and he's in trouble. He got into it. It looked like they're doctoring to the guy who got into it with the New Mexico State police. That was helping Larry get back in the game. It was funny. It was like, yeah, how New Mexico of us? Yeah, dummies. Yeah, I listened to it on the radio, so I didn't hear all the information. I didn't get all as good of information as I did from Terre Haute TV station. And Larry fouled out, that game. So it was tit for tat. Larry was out and Slab was out too. It was funny because I still kept laughing. I remember talking to Nody online about that. He goes, yeah, but we were still a really good-looking team, and they were an ugly basketball team. I just laughed my ass off. I'm like, Nody, you funny. He's like, yeah. I said, we're still, we were just a better-looking basketball team. It's like, yeah, that was Coach. That was before Weldon Drew. That was Ken Hayes, right? That was Ken Hayes' basketball team. He was a nice guy. Yeah, he let Mom let me go down there and meet and shoot hoops at the Pan Am for a half an hour, and go down there because Mom, worked at the university, and I was able to go watch the practice, and then I got to shoot hoops, and Micah and Elijah came and shot hoops with me for a while, and Greg and Slab and Donald and all the guys came over and signed my little red, white, and blue basketball with a marker and stuff. Yeah, I don't know what happened to it. It's been long gone since then. But yeah, they were real nice to me. They were sweet. Yeah. Micah was a sweetheart. Yeah, so was Elijah. They were real sweethearts. Yeah, so like Matt Taylor with the kids at the end. So yeah, it happens. Yeah, they said the same thing about Stevie Coulter. That kids just loved him, and he was real good with kids, and he liked the kids and stuff. That, yeah, it was LaDonna, Skip Adams' wife. Poor baby. He was an ass. Oh, God, he was. But that's the way it is in sports. You get guys that are experts at sports. They're real asses. Well, because it's competitive over money. And when you involve competition over money, and that's your success, they're going to be an ass. You can hit it with a stick, it's not going to change. People tell me that you really know the right things to say, especially when you're trying to get your way. Gonna be careful, gotta be smart, gotta watch out for my heart. I don't want it to be broke. Stoplight, hold it right there. And even though if you're a nice person, and in the college aspect of it, and you're making them rich, then you get jaded and you become just like them, or you get the hell out and become a doctor. And then if you're a doctor, you sit there and you see the hypocrisy because you're a doctor, and you go, wow, you can't stop this. Maybe we'll go to heaven and enjoy the magic stuff invented by Constantine Jerome in the sky with Johnny Cash and his family after we're dead. They ain't them dogs' real voices, right? Okay. May the circle be. And that's what it is. They need magical thinking to save them from reality because this is hundreds of thousands of years in the making. Albert Einstein, yeah, huh? And that's Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. They'll be here all week. Okay, when do you think they'll ever shut down? Even if alien life forms that they perceive as more intelligent than them because they're more aggressive and abusive in their technology to try to maintain survival through psychosis, they're still held accountable to the same laws of humility and understanding of faith and the infinite essence of an eternal existence. So, even their technology will be held accountable to the same laws to maintain balance and harmony in life through invention. Do you understand? So, when it happens, it'll most likely be simultaneous. Now, a more highly evolved humanoid planetoid with people on it and stuff like that wouldn't be anything like a Star Trek thing, but it wouldn't be nothing like the Vulcans. That's very barbaric and irrational, and just shows that people are trying to be superior because they have ego problems, and that's a Vulcan, because it is a person who has an ego problem who sees himself as superior because a Vulcan is basically Sheldon turns himself into the dominant jock alien that he's not, right? Okay, he sees himself as intellectually superior to all the intellectually inferior people because they can get what they want through violent sex cult behaviors. And then when you get somebody who the energy conducts through because he's the kindest, and through his kindness and his empathy and his respect, he becomes far superiorly intelligent to all of his rivals that want to outshine him because they want to out-manipulate others to feel, the great and powerful hero, right? And that's what's been happening for thousands of years. And that's why I've talked to Bruce Lee briefly before he was murdered. Okay. He didn't talk to me when he was laid up. He read Suzuki and Krishnamurti books. But Suzuki and Krishnamurti talked to the guy in the Book of Revelation. But when you're talking to Bruce Lee and you don't tell Bruce Lee, what's up, you don't sit there and say, well, we're too busy with this kid in New Mexico watching Underdog and Go Gophers because he's the focal point of calm, respect, and dignity and strength to save us from egotistical conflict through propaganda of sex cult money wars. So, you don't divulge that kind of information. You kind of keep it to yourself. Like when they wanted to channel me through Judah Krishnamurti in the 1930s, and he said it was not possible at all. Okay, same with Suzuki. Same with Sun Yat-sen. Okay, what's going on in the future? I don't know. You put up the satellites and monitor everybody's conversations and invade their privacy, and you tell me. You don't trust anybody. That's how you stay ahead, right? Hail the conquering hero. Right? It's Megamind. It's Megamind. So we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Making people vulnerable through depression and pollution and psychotic meds and antipsychotic meds and meds to survive their physical abuse through having to live in substandard communities health-wise because that's where all the toxic waste from all the factories to get us all the stuff we need to have better quality of life goes to. It catches up. It's instantaneous. It's instant karma, man. Do you get John Lennon better now? And we all shine on like the moon and the skies and the sun. He had access to Krishnamurti, and he had access to Suzuki and Alan Watts. Okay. Did he understand them that well? Pretty well. I think John did a pretty fair job. Okay. Do I think he was as intelligent as Alan Watts? Or no, he wasn't as intelligent as Krishnamurti or Suzuki, but he tried, and same with Alan Watts, he tried. But Alan Watts had some limitations because of the aristocrat intellectualism of the traditions of the British trying to compete with the other assholes, and the Japanese were more isolated, and same with the very poor of India. They were isolated and put off and treated like shit. So they had a lot of time to just go and try to get together and treat each other with dignity, just to survive and not try to thrive to pose a threat to the egomaniacs. Kind of like, the shithole outpost of Ben-Hur with the, goats and Jehovah, right? So what you go out there is you go out there and you survive, and then they come out and find you and find out this is a shithole, but they're thriving. How are they doing it? Love, love, love. Why'd you take so long to come to me? Wait, tell me. Same thing every time. The Mormons. They sent them out to places where it was like, oh, you can't survive there. The barbarians will do this. They earned the respect and the trust of the barbarians. They assimilated some of the barbarians to the group, and they married in. Then the whites came along and go, they make us look bad, and tried to kill them off, and they had to keep going west. The last bastion of the Mormon church that survived anyway intact with any kind of civility and beauty it was in the St. George and Cedar City area. Okay. Brigham Young and his fine son Malachi was up in the Cedar area, who was betrayed by treacherous whites that Brigham Young eradicated most of them from the face of the planet after they killed his kind protecting son of the mountains. Yeah. He lived up in the mountains because he was still getting bigotry and hatred from some of the assholes that betrayed him, that were down and that followed him. And so, it was Brigham Young. You couldn't, he goes, it was relatives of wives and shit. You have a wife and she has a brother. And, and he is a drug dealer in Omaha, She's trying to rehabilitate him because it's his brother. And okay. I have a feeling I'm going to put that motherfucker in the ground sooner than later. Hope it's not later. Okay, that's Brigham Young. Okay. If anybody's ever talked to Brigham Young, you're like, that's the kind of neighbor I want. I like him. I really like him. Pull my fingernails out of my hands. He's way different. He's those Mormons that you really like. Okay. He's not self-righteous. He got drunk. Well, he was, like Spencer's Mountain, all those times I fixed your icebox and everything, I'm calling it in until you go help that guy. I got him drunk. He didn't get himself drunk. It was me. Blame me. That was Brigham Young. He wasn't a self-righteous hypocrite. He understood people having hard times and how they try to get through it. And he would tell Joe that all the time. He goes, you've had in many ways, a more sheltered life than I did. I came from a family of assholes. You came from a family of people that were generally just pretty kind and worked together and share, that stopped bullied and got to banded together to stop bullies. Like Joe Smith's oldest brother that got killed. The self-righteous hypocrite pastor told him he went to hell because he was a troublemaker and a joker. But he was the bravest, kindest guy in the whole valley and the best anti-bully in all this part of New York. And then, he still went to hell because he was this way. And Joe was pissed, and he was like 13, and he went out into the forest, and he prayed for a revelation to have better spiritual instruction to see if he could do it for his family, to save them from being corrupted by that cowardly, shitty, self-righteous, pompous school teacher that they had to go to and put up with, who was the school teacher and the pastor of the village. And then he started, he started teaching his own family about astronomy, about this, he just went out in the woods and asked for revelation, and he talked to people that could help him teach better. Then you got nothing else to do. What are you doing? You clean wood. If you do that, what else you got to do? He was able to talk to people spiritually that had lived in that area for hundreds of thousands of years and were far more intelligent than that book, that scripture hack, Zakir Newark, wannabe asshole in the village where they, pay for the pastor to stay there and teach them the ways of God for the kingdom in the sky, right? And all the magical bullshit from the yesses, lots of yesses. All the magical bullshit. And most of the stuff they considered philosophy was too condescending and complex for most people to understand how to plant their crops and how to keep them from getting taken by people that would manipulate them with science and math, right? Yeah, look, it's William Left Buckley and his friends. We'll teach you how to take advantage of the local people in your community. And then you can use cars, bars, and wars and manipulation over cars, bars, and wars with thugs that are stupid but are addicted to violent sexual behavior. So they think it's fun when they get to do that. The gangster laughed when W. Snubby came in all by himself and killed everybody. You mean like Slim with Jim? Yeah. Slim Jim. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? And they always have these insidious, stupid stories. The last thing Daniel wanted to do was go in the lion's den. He wanted to teach everybody to live the faith of the Father of Israel, so we didn't have extreme psychosis. And you respect the lion, and if you ever have to get into the lion, here's what you need to do. Okay. Remember when Michelle told me that about, I thought it was touching Elijah. She wasn't touching his mane. He was shoving his eyes to the back of his head so he could kill it and teach it a lesson, not to cross him or try to eat his children or come near his wife while they were sleeping. I love you, Michelle Bowen. Earl. It's like, love you, baby girl. When you have the spirit of a woman who's connected to the spirit of an eternal wife that's been there for more than 10,000 years, you must be a special lady and a very exciting girl. You like chitlins and this? No, well, you'll like mine and I'll show you how, right? Share, care, give in accordance to need, built to last. Earl, Papa don't, Papa don't, Papa don't, Papa don't. Papa don't take no mess, right? And if you're the one who's like the Eternal Father, or the one that teaches us to share, care, give in accordance to need, built to last, you can't go around reacting to John McCain, acting like John McCain when he's a murdering ass and you ain't. You're like an angel in the sky. And they're like, that was a program that we invented. Yeah, but you needed the spirit of Michelle Bowen in order to invent that program. Okay? And I don't think you're intelligent enough to come up with anything that beautiful to save yourself from your own fucking ego, because you're still trapped in your own fucking ego. So I don't want to hear it. Okay, I get that all the time from, we're just programming you. They're programming me. Okay, how come you don't have the balls to endure the abuse? And how come the people that are bullies for departments of law enforcement aren't terrified of you every time they show up to harass you? And now it's gotten to the point where I'm so good at controlling technology that I don't get harassed at all. And I'm okay with that because I like the little critters. I tell them that. I look forward to the day when you're living next to your neighbors, being a good Brigham Young, Malachi Young type, instead of almost getting shot by an asshole who thinks, well, I can buy more guns than he can buy guns, and I can sell more drugs and sell more pussy than he can sell pussy, so I have a divine right to get away with this if I can pay off all the cops. Yeah, been there, done that. He was my basketball coach in Casper in City League. Yeah, that's what he did. Danny ran half the town. Okay, 5'6", best leaping dunker you ever saw. That guy who won the thing. No, Danny bounced the ball, jumped up, did a 360 and a half, caught up and could reverse dunk it. Yeah. He put women out in the street for sex, sold all the white kids drugs, and paid off all the cops to do it. Boom, ba-doom, boom, boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, boom, boom, ba-doom. He went to Casper because he was always getting attempted assassinated in Denver or Chicago, and he didn't want to get killed. He just wanted to do his business and not have anybody try to kill him. He wanted to have good business partners, not people he couldn't trust that would try to kill him and put him out of business. So he went to Casper because it wasn't a big market and it wasn't as desirable. And then he hooked up with Tim's cousin Ty, and they decided to do business together because he was trustworthy. And they all talked shit about Ty. I was like, hey, Static, don't start none, won't be none. I like this Danny Bennett guy. I like this Taito Tan guy. They're horrible people. Man's got to do what a man's got to do when the Messiah's the youngest guy on your basketball team and doesn't want to start no Static because he has to correct the technology in the future. It's all good, right? You understand? So life's eternal grace is infinite. The people at the Z Guys movies know what they're doing 50 years in advance, and they like to fuck 50 years in advance. I don't like to fuck. I'm an eternal perfect lover. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kidding. I know what I'm doing. Dad says that. They know what they're doing. No, they're aware of what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, because if they knew what they were doing, they would be like me. Anderson, Smith, Anderson, Smith. No fair. Okay, so thanks, Judah Krishnamurti. Everybody say thanks, Judah Krishnamurti and Dishiro Suzuki. Bak, bak. Thanks, Easter Bunny. I was watching TV and they were laughing. He's watching TV. He wants Johnny West for Christmas. And electric football. I liked electric football and Johnny West. Those were my two favorites. I got more into electric football as I got older. And Johnny West was when I was young. I still like them both. But, once I fix EA Sports and I get people to fixate, I can take Romans and turn them into better Hebrews than Hebrews. And consequently, you guys are taking Hebrews and trying to turn them into better Romans and Romans. And Romans lie to themselves to use mythology to mass murder to feel powerful. So, holy jihad, Batman on that one, right? Okay, so all you Romans out there that I'm turning into Hebrews, I want my EA Sport. You know what I want, so just fix it. And don't you give me Illuminati signs in my face. I'm going to kick you in the dick and vajayjay so hard. I've already done it. You're right. Instant karma is going to get you. So just have it ready when I get to where I'm going. We'll decide with Patrick if it's Eureka or the Gila. Well, holy Eureka, Batman, is it the Gila or the Eureka? I have a feeling it might be California for a while before I head back to New Mexico. I'm okay with that. I got nothing against California. So, I can sit there and have meditations and a few conversations with Albert Einstein saying, oh, okay, well, I think I already knew that, Albert. I'm just kidding. I think I told you. Okay. You drunk again? You horn dog, you never have any time to talk. You should go make Sheldon a time machine. You're funny. Let's go pour Romulan ale on Richard Feynman's grave in L.A., right? Or is it Glendale? I don't know. Why would you go visit a place where people's bodies were put in the ground? Where do you carry Marianne? Like I told Emily, right, right here. Life's eternal and grace is infinite, The mind, that is the body, which is the temple for the soul, that's how you communicate with the soul, which is the essence of the omnipotent glory that sustains us through faithful love and faithful communication. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word became flesh, right? I love you guys! I love you guys! I love you guys! Okay, we'll get back to work. I'm going to go do my two-a-days. Who's today? Today's Emmy, Clem, and Ray Ray. It's at the end of the alphabet. Then we're going to go back to the beginning, which is Rocky and Uriah. Then the next portion of the alphabet then goes to Steffi, and then we go to Idaho. So we're helping out with extreme Christian extremism. So that's Vanessa. Bum 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 na na. Then we go to after Idaho. Who's next after Idaho, guys? Memphis, University of Memphis, which is Andre. And then there's Patrick, and then there's Yolanda, and then there's me. And then after me is who comes after me? Who could there be after you? My bug. Yeah, Texas State. After Texas State is Chuji Bear. And then after Chuji Bear is Crummy Cake, I Love You at UMass. And then Mom at UNM. And then Clem at USA. And Natty at UTSA. Last but not least, little Ray Ray Shanae, helping clean up all the people at Air Force foster care who think they can get away with stuff through spying through planes instead of living the Gospels, makes them no longer trying to work out their insanity with the insane. Right? Arrested Development. Okay, guys, I love you very much. All right, peace out.